a bad thing. But joining us in the studio now is Miss Jane Walton. She's with Disability Rights Mississippi, and they've got the Mississippi Disability Mega Conference, which is coming up, and it's something you may need to know about. So welcome, Jane.
Thank you so much for having me.
The good news is the conference is going to be indoors, right?
Yes, it is indoors, air-conditioned. The Hilton, where it will be, has a lovely pool, so if you join us and stay, we'll make sure you stay nice and cool.
So this is the Mega Conference, so no pressure, but it sounds like it's a big one.
It is a mega conference, so this is a group of about 10 different disability advocacy organizations that come together. This has been going on for over 10 years now. So we come together to put on a mega conference for the disability community, for people with disabilities, for their family members, for caregivers and service providers. So it's a really great time for the community to get together and find out about resources and support.
So I've learned over the years here at Good Things that the word disability means different things, and some folks think that it's only like a slither of sort of, I guess, conditions or people with particular ailments, but really it's an umbrella term. A lot of different folks fall under the word disability. So how do y'all describe that?
Right, absolutely. We say that the disability community is incredibly diverse. So when we are talking about disabilities, we're talking about any person, whether they have a physical disability, a mental health disability, maybe a developmental or learning disability. And we also like to remind people that disabilities can be permanent and they can also be temporary. So just because you might not have been touched by a disability in your lifetime, that's not to say at one point in the future, you might experience a disability yourself or a family member. So, yeah, it's incredibly diverse. We like to remind people that disabilities can be invisible. So, it's not just that kind of handicap sign that people envision when you think about disability. It's people all ages, all walks of life. And so we just want the whole community to feel empowered, whatever disability they may have.
You mentioned, Jane, that many organizations are coming together to sort of help make this sort of possible. I know you don't necessarily list all of them, but who out there is coming to the table to bring all their resources for this one big mega event?
Yeah, so a lot of people might not know that Mississippi has a lot of really incredible organizations for people with disabilities. So like you mentioned, I'm with Disability Rights Mississippi. We are the state's protection and advocacy agency for people with disabilities. So we provide legal advocacy services. The Coalition for Citizens with Disabilities is a great group where different advocates come together. A lot of people might not know that at the University of Southern Mississippi, there's the Institute of Disability Studies. So there's a whole group kind of researching disability and also helping students with disabilities throughout their education. So they're going to be involved. The Council on Developmental Disabilities, mental health organizations, the ARC of Mississippi.
You name it.
Yes,
it's definitely.
yes.
And also to the Brain Injury Association, which I
Yes.
think sometimes we forget, like brain injury, spinal cord injuries, those type of things like sort of fall under that.
Yeah.
And I think the point is just, open your mind to what it means in terms of having a disability, and then what sort of resources or programs may be out there to help someone or you take that next step in life, or either further your career, your education, or maybe figuring out ways to improve quality of life through all of these things that are out there. Because if you don't know, you don't know. But
Exactly.
there's a reason. There's things. I also know there's a lot of CEUs, so we've probably got a lot of educators, healthcare professionals, or the like listening. What can they expect out of the conference?
Yes. So we are really focusing the content of the conference on disability throughout the life cycle and in all areas of life. So there will be sessions on everything from mental health to navigating those systems like Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. There's going to be sessions on supported decision making. We really like to focus on empowering people with disabilities to make decisions for themselves. And there will be sessions on education, so some really great resources for educators, service providers, people can go to our website. It's msmegaconference.org for the full breakdown of all the sessions. And like you mentioned, there's great opportunities for CEUs for those professionals, and all that information is available on the website.
And what about your great speakers? Who should we be keeping our eyes out for?
Well, we have 3 really great keynote speakers, the first of which is a woman named Kristen Smedley. We're really excited to be bringing her to Mississippi. She is the mother of several children who are blind, and so she, not a person with a disability herself, but as a mother has just become a champion and an advocate and has done such incredible work in championing research for her children's rare disease that caused them to be blind. She's written books and speaks all over the country, so we're really excited to have her kind of from that advocate, champion, parent perspective. We'll also be having Jonathan Martinez, who is an attorney who worked on this national case for supported decision-making. So supported decision-making is the idea that people with disabilities should be able to make decisions for themselves with the input from their loved ones, guardians, medical providers. So he really championed that cause. So we're excited to be bringing him to the mega conference. And then finally, Maggie Wade, everyone's beloved WLBT anchor, will be joining us. And she will be talking about caregiving from the perspective of a daughter whose father had a disability later in life. So we're really excited for her to speak on that, championing caregiving, and also taking care of yourself as a caregiver.
Which is so important.
Absolutely.
And so really it just depends on like where this fits into your life, whether it's you or a loved one, or, if maybe you are an employer or an employee. There just feels like there may be something for everyone, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't call it the mega conference for nothing. So yeah, whether you are a person with a disability, we often have people with disabilities come join us, as well as parents and advocates and educators, and really the whole,
I need to know how the mega conference came up. It's like, were you all sitting around at a table? I was like, what do we call this? And then someone's like, oh, shoot, it's just a mega conference.
It is. It's a mega conference. So many great organizations, so much great information. So we're really excited and encouraging people. It's not too late to register to join us. So
it's 2 days. So is it the full 2 days? Tell us sort of that breakdown.
So it is June the 6th and the 7th here in Jackson. It'll be at the Hilton. It'll start early that first morning, and people can even come register that morning of, starting at 7:30, and we'll have a full day full of great speakers and our keynotes. That night, we will have a game night, which is a really fun opportunity for attendees to network in a more relaxed setting. So that'll be on the 6th. And then on the 7th, we'll get started in the morning again and conclude around noon. So got about a day and a half. And so it's great for people that are in town. If you're traveling from out of town, you can, stay overnight at the Hilton. There's still rooms available. So we just think it's going to be a really great time.
How many do y'all usually have come out for this mega conference?
So last year was our first year back after hiatus from COVID. And that was my first mega conference to attend. And we had, I believe, over 300 people. So we're expecting another big turnout this year.
And if you are listening to good things and maybe you fall in the line of having a disability or trying to navigate life with one, how can you get in touch with all the exhibitors or the sponsors, or I see all the different organizations, because I feel like there's something for someone they didn't know they needed.
Yes.
That's going to be there or listed, but maybe the speakers or whatnot doesn't fall into their everyday life.
Right, absolutely. So the best place to go is to msmegaconference.org. So there you can find the whole list of the planning organizations. So that might be a great place to find out about new resources. You can learn more about the speakers, about registration. We're also going to be providing respite services for children. So, if there's a parent of a child with a disability who wants to attend but needs someone to care for their child during the day, all day on Tuesday, on that first day, we'll be having respite services. Today is actually the last day to register for those services. So if you're listening, head on over to our website and you can begin that application process. So yeah, msmegaconference.org, where you can find all the good details.
All righty. Well, I think it's going to be a good turnout. Glad to see folks are getting to get back in person. I know it's always more fun to conference. Is it really a mega conference if you have to do it on
Zoom? It is
Zoom?
not. So, yeah, we're excited to all be back together and hope the community comes out and joins us.
Rain or shine, msmegaconference.org. I made it sound like it was outside. It's not outside. That's why it's that's why it's on the inside, as you mentioned, Jane. Well, I appreciate your time. Folks need to, if they're interested, learn more about it. All right, you guys stick with us. We got more for you up next.